discharges, not a single patient asked for their record. Let me say that again in case you want to boo. Not a single patient across hundreds of thousands of hospital discharges asked for their record electronically. Thank you. Much better. So our theory was this. We have all the policies in place at the national level to enable widespread consumer access. We have the technology to make it real for patients. All we had to do was unlock consumer demand. We just had to get consumers to pull on the rope that is their health data, and it would unravel the knots wherever they might be in the system. So we launched the Get My Health Data campaign in collaboration with a lot of partners. They're awesome people. They're on our website. And we asked you guys to actually become the first round of tracers. We asked you to fire your data requests at the system and report back to us what happens. And you did. And you joined other tracers from across the country in doing that. We developed resources for you, how-to videos, legal documents that prove your legal rights. We developed infographics for providers that were focused on retraining them in some of the areas that we knew were the least understood about patients' rights to their health data. We even enlisted the help of some cats, because since cats own the internet these days, we figured that's got to work, right? So what we learned was absolutely eye-opening. There's a tracer storyboard on our website, and many of you are featured, along with many others. But let me tell you that the bottom line is that despite all the policies and all of the technologies, despite all the requirements that we asked providers to meet to open up their data, consumers are pulling on the rope, guys, but there's an elephant sitting on the other end. What our tracers told us was remarkably consistent. They said, number one, we're still sending the message that data is for doctors. We greet consumer requests for their health data with a high degree of skepticism. We tell them things like, you can get your data if you ask correctly. Boo! What's that even mean? Hey, so we also know it's all about loyalty and lawsuits, right? You go, you ask for your data, and they go, well, why do you want it? Are you trying to leave us? Are you trying to sue us? What business do you have here? We also know, without a doubt, that the medical records departments are filled with hard-working people, right? But you get routed to the records department, and the challenge is they're often totally disconnected, for whatever reason, from the IT department that runs the patient portal, which is where you can often get your data faster and cheaper. So we've got a problem. If you want to send your data directly to an app, good luck. We didn't find a single tracer who was successfully able to convince a provider that they could do that, or a provider who knew how to do that. So we have a long way to go. You're lucky if you get your data on a PDF or in a PDF format on a CD-ROM. This is my own, as you can see. Lovely. I didn't even have a CD-ROM anymore. We also saw tracers being charged high fees, and even not so high fees, but fees that really stood in the way of their data access. We saw examples of being charged per page fees for digital records that don't have pages. We saw more examples of getting invoiced after the fact, and you never got an estimate in advance. You didn't know how much you were going to pay, but you end up with a CD-ROM. It's got a PDF on it, and you're paying sometimes up to a couple $100 or even $600 for that. It's not value, right? There's no value there. Shockingly, we also saw examples of patients being charged for access to their own patient portal. So this is the patient portals that were stood up as part of meaningful use that's already paid for using taxpayer dollars. And if you think that platinum access to your record at the cost of $250 a year, if you think that's bad, try paying $293 for a CD-ROM. This tracer wanted to send a carrier pigeon to pay the bill and call the hospital and rotary phone, right? There were bright spots. I don't mean to be a complete buzzkill up here. There were bright spots. They mostly relate to patient portals. On a policy side, we cannot stand on this stage and say, or not acknowledge the leadership of the Federal Office of Civil Rights, which at the end of February released new guidance that clarified that these kinds of practices are no longer permissible. So huge thank you to OCR and to HHS for their leadership in that. I want to leave you with the other bright spot we have. We have a great tracer who you can see here who got his health data. He got his CMS blue button data. He got his data from 3 different patient portals and ran from his health insurance company, and you can see, even when you get your data, you still have to work very hard to make sense of it all and combine it all and make it work for you. So clearly that takes no shirt and 4 cans of Starbucks coffee. So we're here to tell you guys, we've discovered some gaps. Our original theory didn't quite hold up. It's not just about consumer demand. We want consumers to have their health record. They unquestionably want their health record, but we have made it way harder than it needs to be. So we need to shift. We need to be not just about get my health data, but we now need to be about giving health data, really changing practice in the field. And so you won't be surprised to know that we're here to ask for your help one more time.
Well, Christine, that may have been sobering news, but I would say this. We are at a moment in time in the care delivery system where getting this right is absolutely essential. And if there's one positive that came out of the tracer experience, it is this. The communications now are happening in organizations where the medical records department might now actually talk to the IT department. And the CEO or boards of directors at health systems all across the country are starting to get wind of the fact that I didn't want to sign off on the language that said the patient has to ask correctly to get a copy of their health record. They didn't really intend for that to be the case, but they're now being made aware of it because of the incredible work that all of you have done as tracers. So, Christine, I would suggest to you that in this year, on this stage, when we celebrate Fred Trotter, and we think about the opportunity that this 7-year journey has brought us on Health Datapalooza, now is the time to take the sobering facts that you brought forward and to bring them to life in a new call to action. A new call to action for all of us to join the tracers, to ensure that we get this right because we know how critical it's going to be. And who might wish to join this cause? It might be a health system that says we want to help build our own tracer program so that we can identify these challenges on the front end and not be aware of them because of an article that appeared in a newspaper or a shout out by the mighty Casey over here about the name of the institution that had the awkward moment on their website. So those organizations, Christine, they have a role to play too. And my suggestion is if you want to be a part of this movement and you want to ask questions and engage, please tweet the Get My Health Data campaign and hashtag #DataExemplar if you want to learn more about what it might mean about how you can incorporate these programs into your own DNA. Because it would be much better for you to shop your own internal programs to see this experience firsthand than to have more of these armies come out. And it's not just the folks in the executive suite of these health systems. We want to make a specific call out to those incredible men and women working in those medical records departments because they understand firsthand this insanity. Many of them find themselves really not sure what their resources are. So if you are a health information professional, maybe you're a member of the AHIMA organization, we would love for you to help think about a model notice so that your patients can be made fully aware of all their rights. Christine's put a wonderful program together on the website, but let's find a way to turn that into a model form for the industry. And again, tweet at GetMyHealthData and hashtag #DataExemplar if you as an HIM professional want to be a part of the solution. But last but certainly not least, for those of us in the IT community, and those of us that are building better and better services to make sure that patients can get access to the data via the portal and increasingly via open APIs, make sure that your clients know how to turn these features on. And you might even have a conversation to walk down the hall to the medical records department to ensure that that loop is closed. If you want to be a part of the cause to make sure that folks are properly using the tools that they've purchased from you, please also tweet at GetMyHealthData and ensure that hashtag #DataExemplar so you too can be part of this movement. Christine, is this the year that we're going to get this done? Are we expanding the community and the coalition of the willing? Is everyone with us, Christine?
I don't know, what do you guys say? Is everybody with us?
Are you with us? Thank you for the update, and we look forward to seeing you in 2017 to celebrate the widespread adoption of model best practices to bring this to life in 2017.
Free my data. Amen.
Thank you.